Just a few short weeks ago, I found myself discussing local politics with some high school students. The future for Beit Shemesh really looked dark and hopeless. The streets will never be clean, Devoid. There'll never be enough buses. Our schools will never be a priority. Soldiers will never feel comfortable being seen in town dressed in uniform. Beit Shemesh is a Haredi city, and anyone that does not identify as Haredi feels uncomfortable. Things will never change. The mayor cannot be stopped. Aunt Yocheved, you're lucky that you don't live here, because there's no hope for Beit Shemesh. 1 short month later, and I am sitting here today in the sunny and beautiful Beit Shemesh. How did Dr. Aliza Bloch, the future mayor of Beit Shemesh, how did she achieve the impossible? It's Yocheved, high energy mom, and I asked Rabbi Dov Lipman to come sit with me for coffee here in Aroma in Beit Shemesh and to really provide insights into this stunning victory, razor thin, and what the future holds for us. So thank you for joining us for coffee.
My pleasure.
And thanks to the weather.
Yes, it's been a beautiful day after a stormy night, and it's great to be with you.
So I was kept thinking with the sun. Rabbi Lipman, you know, you're famous for all of us because your background is very similar to my background. You grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland, and you attended Mayor Israel, and then you made Aliyah, and then you suddenly, you decided, how did...
It was actually, we were enjoying a beautiful life here in Israel. I was an educator in yeshivot and seminaries for Americans who came to Israel for their gap year. It was actually the story of Beit Shemesh that brought me into community activity and political life, because all of the things, which thank God with this election we are now going to hopefully turn back, but they reached a burning point about 7 years ago in 2011, and we don't want to go back to that story, and Aliza always reminds us not to go back to that story, so I won't. But there were tensions in the city which prompted me to feel that I had to act. We had to do something to try to marginalize the influence of the extremists. Most of the Haredim in Beit Shemesh want nothing other than to live peacefully with everyone else, but there were these extremists who were having a real influence on our lives on a daily basis. So that brought me into community activity, which ultimately led me to political work.
Well, we're really lucky you're here. All right, for those of you guys, it's live, so join the conversation if you have a question for Rabbi Lipman. Please comment below if you have a question. We will be looking at this feed all day. I'll tag you on it. So if you have questions, we'll continue the conversation. New York Times covered the story for those who didn't see it. For those of us hiding under a rock, catch us up a little bit on the elections.
So essentially, for the last 10 years, Beit Shemesh has been under the leadership of Mayor Aliza from the Shas party. 10 years ago when he was elected because of secular Beit Shemesh. He came as a Shas moderate candidate, and thousands of secular people, including officially secular parties, supported him because they felt, okay, Beit Shemesh is becoming more ultra-Orthodox, let's find somebody moderate and can run the city. Sadly, I think that most of the populations in the city have not felt that they've really received services that they need, basic services, cleanliness and other things, employment and other issues that need to be tackled. But also, there's been an allowance for extremism to flex its muscles in Beit Shemesh, and it's created tensions in the city. But most people felt, as the ultra-Orthodox community grew in Beit Shemesh, so that's it. Meaning, he'll continue to be elected as mayor. He has the support of all the ultra-Orthodox community, and that's the end. And this very brave, remarkable, incredible woman, Aliza Bloch, stood up and said, I want to come with another message, and I want to try to unify the city. And I have to admit, I was amongst the, not outspoken naysayers, but it was hard to believe that it would be possible. She can't win if she doesn't get ultra-Orthodox votes, Haredim voting for her, and how exactly is that going to happen when all the rabbis are telling everyone it's a desecration of God's name to vote for her as opposed to their candidate. But she persisted, day after day, night after night, with an incredible team of dedicated volunteers, including, this has to be emphasized, a very strong, large Haredi branch. They actually were the group that actually pushed her to run, and she got thousands of votes from the Haredi community. She got thousands of Haredim who didn't show up to vote, and they didn't want to vote for him, who felt they couldn't necessarily vote for her. That, together with an incredible effort by her volunteers to bring out the vote in Old Beit Shemesh, led to a remarkable victory. But I have to add the sweetest part to the story,
Yes.
because for those who didn't follow this part, the story itself is incredible. It really is incredible. You should read about it, read about Aliza, tremendous inspiration. But on election night, when election night ended, she was actually losing by 251 votes. So how do you figure that with the celebrations that were happening at her headquarters? Because we knew the next day they were going to be counting the soldiers' votes. There were over 1,000 soldiers who voted. And in this incredible twist, in a city where there have been times, or places I should say, in the city, where soldiers didn't feel comfortable walking in their uniforms because of the small extremist element, now the soldiers came and they were the ones who crowned her with the victory, which ended up being over 500 votes, and she is now the new mayor of Beit Shemesh. And as she emphasizes, she's not the new mayor of Beit Shemesh for the religious Zionists, not for the secular, but for everyone. There's not going to be any favoritism to one group over another, but it's going to be everyone getting what they need, and hopefully a very professionally run city where extremism will not be tolerated and where barriers will come down between populations.
Those are such lofty goals. And the question is, like, you've been in politics. How many years already have you been in politics?
I was elected in 2013.
2013. So the question is, she's promising this unity and not division. She's promising fairness with delivery of services and the reverse of the exodus of young people and attracting new employers in technology and more English speakers and hiring more English speakers. The reality is, how realistic are her goals? And, how realistic are her goals?
So the unity element, she's already proven. She's proven that she is a unifier. She has succeeded. That night when the election results were announced, we were standing at City Hall, and she came out at 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was, the crowd was filled with every possible population in Beit Shemesh. So she's already done that, and she just has to continue in her same sweet tone and inspirational tone, and she'll succeed. The ultra-Orthodox of Beit Shemesh and in most of Israel, they don't want to be against the rest of Israel. They want to be part of Israel. They want to be accepted as part of Israel. They want to have the benefits of being part of Israel. So her challenge is going to be on the professional side. I'm not saying she can't do it. She has to surround herself with the right people. There are already people involved. There's a fellow named...
I hope you're on our team.
There's a fellow named Ranan Dinor, who was a former manager of the city of Yerushalayim. He was a manager of the Prime Minister's office. Part of her team. Who the professionals will be, we'll see, but she has good people who have already made a plan for the first 100 days. She said her first goal is tackling the cleanliness, and I want everyone to hear this. That night, on election night, or the night that the votes of the soldiers are counted, the area outside of the city hall was a mess, because everyone was throwing her little ptakim, the notes with Aliza Bloch and their signs, and it was a mess. She did not leave that area until all the youth and any adults that were there cleaned up the mess. That is something which is unheard of. Most people would say, let's go home, let's go to sleep, let's continue celebrating elsewhere, and some city workers will come and clean it up. That was just an example. I have no doubt that she'll succeed in doing so, and the Haredi residents of Beit Shemesh, I think, will see a real change in their quality of life. They want to live in a clean city. They want to live in a well-run city. They want schools instead of caravans. They want religious services also, which haven't really been given to them. So she's really shattered this idea of there's the Haredi political machine which can't be defeated. It's not true. She has shown that it's possible, and now it's obviously the onus is on her to come through with all the services, and I'm really very confident that she will.
The sun is shining. It's these teenage boys that I sat with. It's a new day, and it's a new dawn.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
our children who never considered for a moment thinking about staying in Beit Shemesh. We were talking about it on Shabbat with other friends of ours. All of their kids are saying, oh my gosh, now we want to consider Beit Shemesh. Beit Shemesh is a perfect location. It's Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, airport, train, Gush Etzion. You have access to everywhere. As you see behind me, but you can see that there's mountains. It's beautiful. It's a city surrounded by the most beautiful areas for biking and walking and running. So at every single level, it has everything it needs to just burst. And now that you have leadership who's unifying and talking in positive terms and creating this positive future, the youth of the city are talking about staying. That's a tremendous blessing.
It's amazing, this feeling of hope. And we said it's the young and the old, it's the males and the females, which is another time I want to chat with you about. It's the residents of Beit Shemesh and the whole country. And from reading in this article, this was a great article by David Halfinger, the November 2nd, the New York Times. the whole world is excited because this extremism is scary for everyone. And this article highlighted, and it said, you know, I'm going to just quote here, it says, but no longer she vowed, talking about Dr. Bloch, from now on the city would become a model for all of Israel. We realize that we share a common good that unites us, Ms. Bloch said, adding, no more I take care of the people in my sector. We're done with that sort of talk in Beit Shemesh. And that, I think, is the message for Beit Shemesh, for Israel, and for the whole world.
Absolutely. I've said for years, and I've been writing about this for years, that the fear that I hear all around Israel about the ultra-Orthodox population growing, and they're going to take over Israel, and religious tensions, I've said for years that's not real. Because yes, you hear a lot of noise from some politicians, you hear a lot of noise from a few extremists here and there who make a lot of trouble, but the broader population is not that. And as long as there's a process of integration of the ultra-Orthodox into Israel, into the workforce, into the army, into higher education. There are more than 10,000 young ultra-Orthodox students in higher education today. There's more in the army than ever before, more working than ever before. They become more moderate, they want to become part of society, and you'll see the breakdown of these barriers. They'll still be religious, but you'll have coexistence and you'll have tolerance. And what happened here in Beit Shemesh, the people who voted for her are those. They're the young people who are going to work, who are serving, who are studying, and they've shattered all of these myths, and that is the message for all of Israel, and it is the message for all the world.
Thank you, because I know the sun didn't just rise on its own with the help of Hashem and really with the help of soldiers. And I know you're a soldier in this, and thank you. Again, on behalf of Beit Shemesh, Israel, Modi'in, the New York Times, the whole world, thank you for fighting extremism. I want to join the team.
Yeah, I really say thank you to Aliza, thank you to her team. She had the people who believed from day one and spread the word. Thank you to the young ultra-Orthodox who joined her, and to everyone who voted for her. And now I really do hope that people see Beit Shemesh as a model and let it spread to all of Israel. And the unity, which that I have been fighting for years, which is the key to our success here. On every possible level, let it come, let it spread, and let's see totally new headlines coming from Israel on these topics.
Amazing. And to those boys that I spoke to over Sukkot, there's no more never. Now it's in your hands, and it's really in the youth, and it's the youth are our future, and we really need everyone here in Beit Shemesh to stand up and be a part of the vision. And in Modi'in we'll also try to capture on. Those of you that have a question for Rabbi Lipman, I will send him all the questions, and we want to continue the conversation.
Absolutely.
You've energized me and the world.
Aliza has energized us. I want to emphasize this. There's
Right.
one woman who stood up and did this, and all the people that were with her and all these incredible volunteers, they're the ones who really deserve all of the credit, and we should all learn from that message. People should watch the way she speaks, watch her messages. It's sincere, it's real, it's authentic, and that's what the Jewish people need, that's what Israel needs.
All right, and finally, where can people find out more ways to help? You could find out on my blog. You could look it up on my blog.
Anybody who wants to be in touch with me, either on Facebook, I'll give my email address. It's ddlipman, Lipman, @gmail.com. If you want to get involved, you want to try to spread this message to your cities,
We
wherever
need
you
you to
come
get
from.
involved. We need you to spread the message. There's no more sitting on the sideline. Just bother Rabbi Lipman.
It's my pleasure. I don't view it as a bother at all. That's what I'm here for.
And thank you. You know, and I did reach out, and we're here almost a day, hours later. All right, everybody, have a high energy day from the beautiful, sunny, hopeful city of Beit Shemesh.